What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to, I think this is a new subscriber, Steve Legreed, for the $10 donation via the Cash App. He leaves a note saying, "Who's your most underrated 90s player?" That's a good question. I could do a video about that. Got to think about that for a second. Much respect to you for showing love to Too Raw for TV. Well, yesterday also was another game. This was the second game in the Western Conference semifinal series between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets, and it just got uglier for Denver. Denver is in serious trouble in this series. Karl-Anthony Towns scored 27 points and grabbed 12 rebounds. Ant-Man also had 27, and the visiting Timberwolves blasted the Denver Nuggets 106-80 last night to take a 2-0 lead in this Western Conference semifinal series. Minnesota held Denver to just 34.9% shooting from the floor, and this despite Defensive Player of the Year candidate Rudy Gobert taking time away from the team for the birth of his first child. The Timberwolves, holding a decisive edge on the reigning NBA champions, head back to Minnesota for Game 3 of the best-of-7 series on Friday. And as we all know, when a team takes a 3 games in the lead in these playoffs, it's pretty much the death knell. No team has ever come back in the NBA, that is, from a 3-0 deficit in the playoffs. I think it's been done twice in hockey, and I think once in Major League Baseball, if I'm not mistaken. The Boston Red Sox back in 2004 came back from a 3-0 deficit. I think it might be 3 times in hockey now that's been done. Even without Gobert, a 3-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year winner, the Timberwolves held Denver to a season low in points. Jamal Murray scored just 8 points on 3 of 18 shooting. As a matter of fact, Jamal Murray showed his frustration with his poor play and what Denver perceived to be calls not going their way, non-calls and bad calls going against them. And he threw a heat pack on the court in frustration. But he did have a career high 13 rebounds. Nikola Jokic finished with 16 points and 16 rebounds. Aaron Gordon led the Nuggets with 20 points, and Justin Holiday had 13 coming off the bench. Reggie Jackson left the game in the full court due to an apparent ankle injury, and they could not afford to lose him because it's been pretty much apparent that one of the differences between this Denver team and last year's Denver team is that the bench is not quite as deep. They don't have Rudy Brown anymore. Bruce Brown, I think his name is. They also don't have, what's his name? Green. I can't think of his first name. Is it Darren Green? Long-time NBA player, veteran. They don't have those guys anymore. But Nash Reed and Nickeil Alexander-Walker scored 14 points apiece for the Timberwolves, who have started the playoffs with 6 straight victories. And at one point in time, the Denver Nuggets were down by as many as 32 points in this contest. But they're in a very difficult and precarious situation. Going into this series, man, I thought that the Timberwolves had the advantage, depth-wise, youth-wise, athleticism-wise, defense-wise. I thought that they had the size to give Jokic some problems at the rim, emphasize some problems, but he's given them more problems than I anticipated. I thought Jamal Murray would be key in this series for the Timberwolves. In order for them to be in this thing to win it, I thought Jamal Murray would have to have a big game, have to have a big series, excuse me. And I thought Denver's bench would have to show up. And I thought Cat would be key for the Timberwolves. And obviously, you know, you say Anthony Edwards too, but I just thought by just the nature of the matchups that Anthony Edwards will have a big series. You know, and when you look at the numbers, he's averaging, 35 points a game in this series. So, it is what it is, man. It ain't looking good for the so-called greatest offensive player of all time, Jokic, and the defending champions. It's not looking good. Now, of course, a few teams have come back from a 2-0 deficit in NBA history. It's not over. But to come back from 2-0 going away from home, that's a tall order. It's a tall order, man. I do remember back in 2004, the Spurs taking a 2-0 lead against the Lakers, only to lose 4 games in a row. I remember the Bulls were down 2-0 against the Knicks in 1993, only to win 4 games in a row. So it can happen, but it doesn't happen often. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.